What's going on, guys? This is Carroll from MyMMAnews.com and Carroll's Corner MMA podcast. Tonight, we have the Jackhammer Promotions middleweight MMA champion, Mike Basile. Mike, how you doing?
Doing great, brother. Great to be here.
Awesome. Glad to have you on. Tell us how you feeling. You got a big fight coming up. You're defending your title. How you feel going into this fight?
I feel more confident than I've ever been, honestly. This whole year, having off of fighting and getting better with my training, getting better with my stand-up, my jiu-jitsu, and all that, it's given me a new sense of confidence to really dominate this division.
Awesome. You're fighting a pretty tough opponent, Carlos Torres. He's going to be the challenger. You guys are the main event of the 7:30 triple header event the Jackhammer Promotions is throwing on Sunday, June 27th. The Beatdown 3, as Bobby Campbell calls it. Tell us a little bit about what it means to be the main event for this, especially an MMA event for a promotion that usually does kickboxing. That's what they're known for.
Yeah. Honestly, being the main event for the first time in my my career so far is it's honestly exciting. Like, I know a lot of guys. I've spoken to guys who've been in the same situation. They say it's you're kind of nervous. You're kind of like the last bang before the show is over, and some people get nervous. But dude, it's just I thrive off of that. I'm so fucking excited. I'm very grateful that Bobby gave me that opportunity to main event for this fight, and to be able to defend it against Carlos. The guy's tough. He's got great wrestling. His stand-up is definitely threatening. So, it's good. It's definitely a good matchup for that event. And for him to kick off doing MMA fights now, because he's known for kickboxing, but doing it and doing it well, hey, kudos to him. He's doing the right thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, Bobby Campbell's putting together something pretty special. And then your opponent you got coming up. Now, I saw on Instagram there was a post about people talking trash enough. Was Carlos the one talking trash, or was it people from his camp? Tell us a little bit about that.
There's some personal stuff going on with people that I know.
Okay.
Directly involved in my camp, but it's kind of weird seeing how this whole year has kind of brought out a lot of the truth in people. Kind of people you thought you'd be cool with come out and end up saying a bunch of shit about yourself. Like, it's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, don't get me wrong, Carlos talked his shit before too. I mean, last when we were supposed to fight, before COVID kind of still pushed everything, he was telling me, he was calling me like a fight with a padded record, and I'm like a paper champ and shit like that. And then I went back and I'm telling him, like, oh no, I don't want to sit in bottom side control the entire fight. I'm so scared. Like, I did have a little back and forth, but nah, at this point so far, it's very surprising the kind of people that talk shit that normally I was friends with. You get put into a certain position, now all of a sudden people got something to say.
Absolutely. It's kind of crazy to see how MMA and camps, because I guess it's kind of like football. Say someone gets traded to another team or something. Like, people forget the aspect of MMA is there's a lot of team aspect to it.
Oh, big time. I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in without my team. This is not solely me. This is all my coaches, my training partners, the people who take time to spar with me, to hold pads for me and stuff like that, And the plus side is a great thing having my brother. He trains with me and he's fighting on the same card too. He's making his MMA debut, but like, just having that support, like, dude, team aspect in every camp is huge.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit, for those who don't know, a little bit about your team and who you train with, who your coaches are. And I believe you just did another podcast recently and spoke and had your coaches on and people who've worked with them. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, I trained under Chris and Alex Vamos and Vamos MMA in Holbrook, and under Coach Ian Hill over in Riverhead, New York. And then I have Coach Moses Arocho from both. He goes to both places. Hell of a lineup of coaches. I mean, honestly, to start off, you got Chris and Alex Vamos, who are world-renowned black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They have Kung Fu black sashes. They have karate experience, Taekwondo. Like, they're complete fighters. Joe Scioli, like, fucking world-class wrestler. The guy unbelievable with the amount of pressure. And he's only like 215 pounds, and the guy feels like he's 300. He's got slick moves. The guy is very traditional. Then you got Coach Moses, who everyone already knows. You know, he's world champion. He, again, like I said before the other day, that man has roots in places I didn't even know existed that so many people fucking know him. But, you know, world-class striking, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, you know, Ian Hill, like he's my coach over in Riverhead. Like the dude is smart. He's very well-rounded when it comes to traditional style jiu-jitsu and throwing in the leg locks now, and then he's got such a knowledge with MMA. It's like, you know, I have the complete package. I also trained under Tommy Batone over at A as well, and that guy can kick my ass even at his age and all that. He's not even that old either, but man, again, full of knowledge. But he's one of Moses' students, you know. So, like the lineage, man, it's just there. But I have a great team around me. You know, I'm very blessed to be around all these guys.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit about, and I've asked a lot of other fighters the same question, is how did the training for technique, because you're not training while during COVID was going on, you weren't really training for a specific fight, more so technique and getting things down. How did that help you, and how did that elevate your game compared to being in camp and just training the drills over and over just for the actual fight?
Yeah, having it's actually pretty funny that you said that, because, you know, not having a fight to look forward to and like nothing to really train for, because I knew that COVID was going to be a whole fucking year thing. So, you know, any hype of anything, I was able to not have a fight to look forward to and be able to just dissect all my techniques and really start honing in the box, because my stand-up has been a problem in the last fight. You know, against Tony Ori, compliment Hayden. Like, my stand-up was decent, but it wasn't at the level where it should be, where if I were to, like, when I defend my belt, that I know I'm confident. So, you know, being able to have that confidence in my stand-up now, you know, something that I was lacking in previous fight camps. Like, I've always had it, but not to the level where I'm at now, where I'm starting to catch some of my really, really good training partners. Like, legitimately, not that they're letting me work and all that. I'm legitimately starting to catch my training partners, and I'm starting to really put together an effective stand-up game, because my ground game's only gotten better. You know, that hasn't been slacking off in any second. But, you know, being able to put my stand-up together now, it's like I feel more of a complete fighter. And it's horrible what COVID was and the situation that we all had to go through, but kind of a blessing in disguise in certain situations where, you know, I was able to just break down everything that I needed to do, you know, and not have the pressure of a fight coming up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of, I guess, yeah, it takes, like you said, takes the pressure off of you and allows you to get in there and focus on the details and the technique, right?
Right. Absolutely. You know, and I'm able to break down the nitty gritty of it and just hammer away. Like, you know, your jab is a little off because your elbow is coming out, you're telegraphing it and all this other shit. You know, just to be able to just break that down and start really putting it together. You know, I couldn't have done that in a 6-week fight camp. I couldn't have done that in an 8-week fight camp. You know, there's always one fight after another. So, you know, it's nice. It was nice.
Are you a guy who watches film on himself? Like, you watch your fights, you film yourself in practice and watch and see where you're making, I guess you say, mistakes and want to improve technique? You seem like a very like focused and detail oriented guy. Is that something that you do?
Absolutely. Oh, without a doubt. I think I've watched my own fights well over 100 times, and just sitting around, because, you know, without improving, you know, without self-diagnosing what's going on and self-reflection, you know, I'm never going to be able to improve. Recently, actually, the last few months, I started to think with myself that I wanted to watch every single UFC event start. But yeah, no, definitely watching a lot of film on myself. I recently did Good Fight tournament back, I think it was January, February, around there. just a regular submission only grappling tournament. And I predominantly use that just to see where I'm at purple belt. You know, being able to, you know, see how I can hang with these guys with a different rule set and whatnot, and then watch the film constantly on that, and then watching my fights over and over and over again, and then watching professional fights and dissecting that. Like, I've gotten to the point now where I'm a huge Rangers fan, I'm a huge Mets fan, Knicks fan, and all that. I don't even watch that shit anymore. Like, I'll follow them on the news and stuff like that, but I don't even watch it anymore because I'm too busy watching fights. I'm too busy watching ADCC highlights and like Submission Underground and fucking, you know, LFA, CES, MMA, UFC, Bellator. Like, that's literally all I've been obsessed with.
It's funny that you say that because it's like when you get older, you're a fan of all the different sports. But a sport like MMA is so involved, and you got the UFCs going on almost every weekend. If you're a fan of the regional scene, like I know myself, I am. I'm sure you are as well. You know a lot of guys fighting on the regional scene as well as yourself.
Right.
So you got all those shows going on, and that's almost every other weekend, every month.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in MMA.
Oh my God, there's too many promotions to keep up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Now, do you believe that waters down the talent and the pool and like the pool fighters, or do you believe there's that many fighters that we're getting the top tier every time?
I do believe at one point or another you are going to get the watered down shows.
Mhm.
You are going to get the extra guys who just wanted to fight. It's a gamble. You know, it's a mix between, you know, you're going to have a great show, a mediocre show. There's like every fight can be different, you know, because a lot of guys want to make their debut. A lot of guys want to just get back into it. A lot of guys are very interested in it, etc. It's like the more the merrier, I say, because, you know, more people want to fight more often. Like, I want to fight back to back to back to back to back to back fights. If I can fight 6 times, 7 times this year, I'm fucking happy. You know,
Awesome.
but if Bobby Campbell's only doing a show once every other month, I kind of need another show to fight on. You
Absolutely.
know? So it's like it's good in a way that there's more opportunities for more people, but then again, you're always going to get one or two of those people that slip through the cracks that don't ever train, that just want to brawl in a cage, and just take,
Definitely.
you know, take pictures for Instagram and shit like that. Like, you can get those, but I feel like it's good for people who want to be very active. But it also has its downfall as well.
Speaking of being active, you want to be. It sounds like you want to be as active as possible in 2021, going into 2022. What are your goals for the future of your career? When do you plan to make that leap to the professional level? And what do you believe you have to do to be successful at the next level as a professional?
To move on to the professional level, that's strictly up to my coaches. I mean, fuck, I'll sign the contract right now if I could, but you know, we're gonna do this the right way. You know, my coach Moses, has said it to me many a times that we're gonna do this the correct way. We're not just gonna jump in, take a couple pro fights, get my ass kicked, and then all of a sudden I'm 0-2 and nobody wants to sign me. My goal last year was to fight 6 times, hopefully, you know, win, you know, every single fight. This year was supposed to be another 4 to 6 fights, and then make that leap halfway. It was actually supposed to be next month. That if all went well, that I'd be going pro right about now. But what the plan is I want to get as many fights as possible to be exposed to all different fighters. So I want to fight a Taekwondo guy. I want to fight a Kung Fu guy. I want to fight a wrestler. I want to fight another jiu-jitsu guy. I want to fight another kickboxer. I want to fight a boxer. You know what I mean? Like, I want to get exposed to every single aspect, and like catch wrestler too, for Christ's sake. And there's not that many people around there that do that. But I want to get exposed to as many people as possible. So when I go pro, I'm not going to be surprised by fucking anything.
Definitely. You know, that not many people say that. A lot of people just be like, oh, I want to fight this, and then boom, go to the next level. And it's pretty cool to see that you're willing to, you know, I guess test your skills and your set against anyone else who in different variations of discipline in MMA, because like you said, you get to the pros, you're going to see all sorts of types of people.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing I feel like is lacking with a lot of guys that make that transition from amateur to pro. You know, you're going to have guys who are going to hold belts, and I'm not saying I'm the cream of the crop, but you're going to have guys who are going to hold belts, get a big head, jump on in, and then they lose, and then it's kind of like, well, this is not what I signed up for. Like, it is what it is, and I want to be exposed to as much as possible, so when I get there, I don't ever have to worry. It's like, all right, you know what? Fine, fuck it. This guy's a wrestler. I've dealt with a wrestler before. All right, he's a collegiate wrestler. I've dealt with a collegiate wrestler before. I've already dealt with this shit, so it's no skin off my ass. And if it's amateur, it's amateur. If I lose, I lose. And fucking, I've already lost. I've already lost before, so fuck do I care?
That's a good attitude, because a lot of people don't use it as like a learning lesson.
And that's the problem with people who have too big of an ego. They don't learn from their losses. They don't learn from draws. They don't learn from a victory that really they shouldn't have had. And I never sleep. I never sleep on a loss, and I'm always willing to learn from every situation, whether I win, lose, whatever. It's always a learning experience, because that's all life is. It's just fucking learning as much as possible.
Absolutely. And I was reading recently about I don't know if you know who John Wooden is, but he's like a super successful basketball coach, and the guy's brilliant. And he talks about winning and then losing, and then learning from your losses. But not too many people learn from the losses, where they're like, oh, I'll learn from. And everyone says that saying that you hear now: you win or you learn. But then they don't go back and look at what they did wrong. They just kind of like, all right, let's forget it and move on. No, go look what you did wrong and improve that, so you know to stay out of those situations.
Absolutely. And that's actually a thing that I suffered with for the longest time. Back 2016, I had my first fight before I even graduated high school. I think I may have mentioned that to you before, that I got my ass kicked by that guy, Brandon Pizak.
Okay.
I fucking love that guy. He's actually, it's so funny after fighting that, like, you can become good friends with a guy who just beat your ass, or vice versa, but
that happens, I feel like, with almost everyone.
Yeah. It is. What's funny? Even me and Mackenzie Hayden, we talk like maybe like once a week. Some other time,
Okay.
like we're always fucking always bullshitting with each other. It's fucking awesome. But it took me 2.5 years, or even 3 years after that fight to be able to actually sit down and watch it. And this is not something I've always had in my mind, where I'm like, you have to learn from your losses and you have to learn from mistakes and whatnot. I've recently adapted to that, but I've learned that along the way, and it took a lot to fucking just sit there and watch that fight. And I had to watch from my friend's live stream, because KTFO didn't have cameras and all this other stuff. Like, they did, but like not for prelims and whatever.
I remember when they first started, they didn't have much, and they've built up into Triton Fights, which is now gonna be another brand. And I remember those days.
Yeah. So I had to watch that fight from a friend's live stream and hear all my friends fucking like talking like, oh man, Mike's getting his ass kicked. Oh shit. Like, it was tough. It was fucking tough trying to sit there and watch that. And when I fought Rob Rinnick, my first MMA fight back, that was tough, because I lost that by unanimous decision. And I'm looking at myself and I'm nitpicking. I'm like, fuck, I could have swept him there. I could have hit him there. I could have done this, that. Fuck, why didn't I have my cardio up? Like, oh, dude. But then once that happens, you start looking at it and you look through the losses and you look through the mistakes, and it's kind of like, fuck, I'm never going to make that mistake again. Fuck that. You kidding me? But a lot of guys don't want to do that. A lot of guys don't want to watch old film. They don't want to see themselves lose. They only want to see the victories. They only want to see the times that they have prospered. Like, it's weird. You have to accept it. It happened. It's in the record book.
Yeah, right. It's not going anywhere. It's a fact. It's happened.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about who inspires you as a martial artist. Who inspires you outside of the cage?
The first guy I ever actually started sincerely following and really absolutely loved everything that he did was George St Pierre. When my brother and I were growing up and we started really getting into UFC, that was kind of like the first guy we looked at. And we had recently gotten a computer at the time, so we had the internet and all this other shit. And then we started really looking into him. And it's just like, he talks about his jiu-jitsu, the wrestling that he adapted into his game, the striking, where he came from, his upbringing and stuff like that. It's like, he's one of the most relatable fighters that I think in my time growing up that I could really relate to. Fantastic martial artist, disciplined,
beyond all belief. He's kind of like the David Goggins of fucking MMA. Like, the dude right now, he's not fighting. He's never going to fight again, but the guy's still training in the fucking pool, pushing fucking, like, water weights and shit like that. And he's jacked out of his mind. I'm like, dude, you're retired. For the fuck? You're 40. What the fuck you doing? But
Yeah,
that's
right.
like, but like, as a martial artist, you know, I'm not a fighter. I'm a martial artist. And to see another guy like that, you know, a prime example of a guy who's never cheated, who never pissed hot, who
Mhm.
never took the easy way out, you know, to see a real, true martial artist that's who inspires me. That's the kind of guy that I want to emulate. You know, he was the all around fighter, and whether people call him boring or fucking, oh, he doesn't finish fights and shit like that, like, the dude, it was hard to hit him and it was hard to beat him. Yeah,
Mhm.
was it Matt Serra caught him with a hook or knocked
Yeah,
him
yeah,
out.
yeah.
But it's,
Finished him.
yeah, and it's like caught him with that, but it's like it didn't happen again.
No, he came back and beat the hell out of Massera.
Yep. And it was funny too. That rematch, first thing he does, what does George St Pierre do? The first fucking 10 seconds to shoots for a takedown, takes fucking Matt Serra down.
Mhm.
Like, you wouldn't have seen that the last fight. By God, dude, that was fucking no, you wouldn't have done that. But again, he rewatched the film, rewatched the fights, all that. You know, he improved. But that's what martial artists do. So
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I remember, I forget who, I think it was against, oh, Jesus. He's from Arizona, I want to say. But he came back after his knee surgery. Remember George St. Pierre tore his ACL, came back to defend his title, or defend his title. Oh crap, I can't remember the guy's name, but I was just shocked at how well he looked fighting, defending that title. It was just impressive, and he's taking shots after shot, and he looked like he didn't miss a beat.
Yep, and again, just consistent training, discipline. That will get you farther than I honestly believe anything else. Just staying disciplined, staying on the course, and just staying on the fucking grind. You know, and sometimes myself, I'll even admit it myself, like, I slip off from time to time. Like, I won't go running every day, or I won't fucking. There's sometimes where I'll make an excuse not to go to training, you know. But then once that happens, I immediately feel like shit, and I'm like, no, I got to get back into it. That's it. There's no excuses for this. So, to answer that question, if there's anybody that inspires me outside of the cage, definitely George St. Pierre. Like, that guy's an idol of mine.
Yeah, the book's pretty, for anyone who hasn't read his book, it's pretty phenomenal. It's very interesting to read about him and the way he explains his upcoming and just everything about him and the way he goes about everything. It's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, him being bullied as a child and stuff like that, and taking up martial arts at, like, what, 8 years old, 10 years old, something like that. Like, it's a perfect story. Seriously.
Absolutely. And then what is one thing about you, Mike, that nobody knows but you'd like to share with everyone?
Oh fuck! I wasn't expecting this. Fuck. Outward, I'm very humble. I try to be a very, very humble person. I don't go around banging my fucking chest like I'm some piece of shit that, you know, won a few fights. You know, but don't get me wrong. I'm very proud of what I've done. So I'm like, I have my belt right next to me. I have my 2 medals I won from fucking Good Fight this year, and you know, I have my picture put up of me wearing the belt, like right in front of me. You know, I got my blue belt certificate, my purple belt certificate. I got all this shit hanging up. Like, out in the public, I'm very humble. You know, don't try to bang my chest, but when it's just me and I look at it, I'm just like, I fucking did that. I'm privately a piece of shit. Outwardly, I'm very much a humble person. So if there's anything I can tell anybody, it's like, yeah, I look at it and I smirk.
I believe that's good though for confidence. Like, you need the confidence to get in the cage and do that. Like, not everyone's willing to get in a cage and fist fight with someone. That's a whole nother level. But then to do it and be successful at it, you got to have some sort of like, you're up on the jumbotron, everyone sees you. You're clearly the man, right? Like, if they're talking about, a whole stadium full of 50,000 people or whatever it may be. They're there to see one or two guys. That's impressive.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Honestly, that kind of stuff, I like to keep myself grounded. So when I hear about that kind of stuff, like if I ever get that opportunity, I know that I'm gonna still come home and my girl is gonna ask me to take out the trash. Like I'm out there, I'm the guy. I want to be that guy. I want to be on the jumbotron. I want to be the main event of a fucking UFC title fight and all this other shit. But when I come home, I know that I'm the guy taking the trash out because my girl asked me to. So, it's a weird mix, honestly.
It's funny though that you say that because there was another UFC fighter. I think it was the big guy, the heavyweight, who just won, and Nagano. And he was saying he thought, you win the title, everything changes. It does for you, like your career wise, but then you go home and nothing's really changed. Like
no.
Other than the fact that you're the champ now, but you still got to go home, like you said, do your trash, pull your trash, and stuff like that. Yeah, not much changed though.
You still get cut off in traffic. People still fucking look at you funny. Shit. If somebody recognizes you, they'll fucking shake your hand, but that guy over there doesn't know who the fuck you are. It's like, what? Oh,
absolutely. Man. Awesome. I know. What about fighting attracts you to it? Like, why do you want to do this instead of say like a normal 9-to-5 job or something else that may not even be a 9-to-5 job, but something else that you're not putting yourself at risk or anything like that?
I was born a warrior. I'm lucky enough that I found out early on that, you have to be a little crazy to be doing shit like this.
Absolutely.
But I enjoy getting hit. I enjoy punching people, and it's weird because I'm not like that. Like if I go out into the store, if I go out to a bar, so I'm never looking for a fight. But like, fuck, if I get into one, man, it's a good time. That'll make my day. But I don't. That's the thing. I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be every average Joe. I don't want to do a sport where it's a team sport. Like, and don't get me wrong, team sports are great. And I've played I played football in middle school and shit like that. Like, I know what it is to be on the team, but I like it when the responsibility is on me. When if something's fucked up, it's not because the guy next to me fucked up. It's me. I fucked up. I take full responsibility. And fighting is one of the only things that you really could do that. I mean, you can do that in tennis. You can do that in golf, stuff like that. But to me, that's not exciting. To me, being able to best somebody in combat is sincerely the truest form of just being a human. Because obviously we're guys. We have egos. We have a point. Every guy has a point to prove, and some may show better than others, but everyone still has something to prove. And you can do that intellectually. You can do that in the gym. Some guys are gunning to be valedictorian in their school. Some guys are looking to be the biggest guy in the fucking gym. Some guys want to be the best fighter. Some guys want to be this. Some guys want to be the best fucking chess player. But everyone has a path in their life that they want to take, and I figured out early on that fighting is the one path that I want to take. When I first started, I had backup ideas. I wanted to become a cop. I wanted to be a history teacher. I wanted to get into fitness and stuff like that. But once I realized that, like, I don't want a fucking backup plan. No, this is it. That just all that B, C, D, E, all that shit distracts you from A. And I'm like, fuck it. No, this is it. I'm going all in.
Awesome. Now, how often do you train? You there every day?
6 days a week. Well, right now for this fight camp, the way it's structured, without giving out too much detail, is that they want us taking 2 days mandatory rest, stretching, healing up any injuries, stuff like that. I try to do an active rest. I try to, I'll at least go for a run. I'll work out abs. I'll do my push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, all that other shit, squats. But if I'm really trying to fucking just go all out, I'll go 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Like I don't stop. If I'm not at the gym, if I'm not at Vamos, I'm at the gym training, or I'm outside running, or I'm outside biking, or I'm outside doing something, or I'm inside doing my push-ups, sit-ups, I'm if I'm training every day, and that's kind of what you have to do. A lot of guys, they'll train for fights, but they won't train as a martial artist. So,
Okay.
I try to do it 6-7 days a week.
What would you say is the most difficult, I guess, martial art discipline to continually train as well as prepare for if you're fighting someone that you might believe it would be difficult?
Fucking kickboxing. I swear to God, fucking kickboxing. Just jiu-jitsu to me is such a piece of cake. It's literally a chess game, and I love that, But fucking kickboxing, man. God, I fucking hate getting kicked. I hate like Brian Jarina and I were just sparring the other day, and this dude clocked me with a right hook and then follows up with a kick, and I'm just like, man, I want to go to the fuck home. Fuck this. It's like, God damn it. and don't get me wrong, I love kickboxing too, but holy fuck, it's so much more taxing. Like jiu-jitsu, I got a shoulder that clicks now. I got sprained toes. I got a thumb that fucking jams up out of place. Or if I just jam it, it's sore for a week. And that's strictly all jiu-jitsu, but man, fuck. I would say kickboxing, definitely.
All right. Interesting. Because I'm always curious to, everyone's good at their skill, then what skill is the one that they hate the most? What are the biggest challenges you believe Carlos Torres presents to you in this title fight?
Pressure. Definitely pressure, because he's got a wrestler's body. He's got a wrestler's stance. He's got a wrestler's will, so to say. I'm not so worried about his hands. Honestly, his kicks as well. I'm not really worried about the stand-up aspect. I feel like it's going to be a even trade-off. His jiu-jitsu is subpar. I've watched. He just competed at Naga recently, and I watched as much film as I could on him. Again, same thing, wrestler, pressure, all that other fun stuff. And like I said before, I'm going to sit in bottom side. I can already predict one of the rounds, I'll probably sit in bottom side control and sweep him and then fucking get in top and, do my thing. But if there's anything that I would have to strictly worry about is probably his pressure up against the cage, on the ground. That's really it.
Prediction? How do you see this fight going? How do you see the outcome?
I say this every fucking time. I want a knockout. I want to put somebody away, but chances are I got two different predictions. One, I got a second round KO or TKO. I'll go TKO. A second round TKO, or obviously, I'm going to take him to the ground and pound, have the ref pull me off. Or otherwise, I'm going to take his back and I'm going to choke him out.
Awesome. Let me tell you, submissions, I'm sure, especially as an amateur, makes your longevity as a career go a lot further.
That's what I told my mom. I said, hey, listen, I can go my entire career not throwing a punch and still win. So I'll fucking take it. You look at guys like the middleweight champion Bellator, Lovato. The guy's a world-class black belt, and the guy's 44 still fighting?
Yeah.
But he uses predominantly his jiu-jitsu. And he's 44, still fighting, and he's a champion. Jiu-jitsu's got its safe place in the MMA community.
And then you have Jacare Souza, who's, jiu-jitsu champ, and here he is, gets his arm broken by an impressive finish by his opponent, and then they cut him today.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Wait, they cut him?
Yeah, they cut him today. I didn't see that coming. But, yeah, I got the notification they cut him.
God, I didn't see that.
League, yeah. Broken arm and all. They just threw him out the door. Dana White's ruthless.
I think he's just trying to clean house of the old. It's kind of like every other company. Get all the old people. Let's get the new guys in. It's fucked, but
I know a lot of people, especially fighters, aren't a fan of him because he looks like he's just cleaning house all the time. But I have to say, I think he knows when fighters are washed up and it's time to move on from him. If you look at his track record, he's done a pretty good job when to move on.
Yeah, and you usually give the fighters that comeback fight, or all right, one more. For the example, is Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah,
You know, he keeps coming back, but the guy's willing to fight. And he's still good. You know, it's not like
absolutely.
he fell off and now he can't land a single punch on anybody. But you know, he knows. Dana White's been in this long enough to know. You know, he's got a good head on his shoulders. But man, fuck, they cut Jacare Souza.
Yeah, they cut him today. So Mike, who's someone you like? People you want to recognize? Your support system? Anyone you want to shout out to?
I got to give a big shout out to my parents for always constantly supporting me. My brother, you know, just my entire family. I get texts and calls from my aunts and uncles all the time, just saying, you know, fucking keep going and all that. My coaches, my training partners, everyone at Vamos, and at AFC as well. You know, again, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in without them. You know, my friends, family, everyone who supports, buys tickets, watches me fight, stuff like that, buys my merch. It's like, honestly, this is the living that I'm trying to make, and I really appreciate all them. And last but certainly not fucking least is my beautiful girlfriend. You know, and I try to shout her out as much as possible. Every fight, every interview that I try to do, I always try to shout her out because, you know, I wouldn't be here without her. You know, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in without her. You know, her constant support, her fucking putting up with my goddamn fucking my fight camp regiment. Like, I come home fucking 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. She's already in bed, and I haven't seen her all day. You know, but it's her enduring all of this and still being with me is truly a blessing, and I'm really happy that, you know, I have her around as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you have the support like that. For those who want to buy your merch, how can they get a hold of your merchandise?
Right now, I'm actually in the process of finishing out the design and putting all the sponsors and stuff like that on. I'm able to do pre-orders. If I get it in before a certain date, I'd be able to order it, and I can either ship it out to you or I could hand it to you personally. Otherwise, I'll start promoting it on my Instagram, and I'll set up a shop where people can just order it directly.
Awesome.
So
Well,
more
Mike,
details to come for that, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist. You either get it from me or, you know, the website's there.
absolutely. Mike, looking forward to seeing you climb to that cage and put some work in. Any last words? Anything you want to say before we close it out?
Honestly, I appreciate you having me. This was definitely a very fun time, and you know, again, appreciate you giving me the time. That's all I got.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to have you on, Mike. Like I said, looking forward to seeing you get in there and fight. This is Carroll's Corner MMA podcast, and we're signing off.
Thank you.